One life, and that's it. You get one shot at this.
Courageous, selfless, compassionate. The tributes to Peter Kasich have been flooding in. 26 years old, he came to the Middle East to help its war-torn refugees. A former US Ranger, he trained up in medicine, then taught others how to save lives. He set up an aid agency, SERA, helping Syrian civilians on both sides of the Turkish border. But this young, idealistic American paid for his generosity with his life. A year ago, he fell into the clutches of Islamic State militants. Converting to Islam and changing his name to Abdurrahman did not spare him, nor the fact he'd helped treat wounded rebel soldiers. Instead, the jihadists posted a video boasting of his murder. Revenge, they say, for US-led airstrikes on their fighters. Mr. Kasich's parents, seen here at a vigil in a mosque in America, have had to endure 13 months of agony. With his mother adopting a modest Islamic headscarf out of respect for her son's adopted faith, they made appeals for his release.
We hope that you will see this message from me and your father.
In return, they got a heartfelt letter from their captive son. "I'm obviously pretty scared to die," wrote Mr. Kasich. "The hardest part is not knowing, wondering, hoping, and wondering if I should even hope at all. Don't worry, Dad," he wrote. "If I do go down, I won't go thinking anything but what I know to be true, that you and Mom love me more than the moon and the stars." The US Secretary of State John Kerry, on a tour of the Middle East, said of him tonight, "There can be no greater contrast than that between Abdurrahman's generosity of spirit and the pernicious evil of ISIL, the so-called Islamic State." A former housemate of Kasich's paid him this tribute.
He was the most kind-hearted, selfless individual. There's very, very rarely do you come across someone like that who's truly genuine, and yeah, he'll be missed.
The latest video from so-called Islamic State differs from earlier ones. It shows in unusually graphic detail the mass murder of captured Syrian airmen. It also identifies the faces of many of the killers. And it shows the location, Derbek, in northern Syria. The American-led airstrikes are hurting IS. They have no military answer to them. So this is their response, murdering a captured US aid worker. The airstrikes are likely to continue. Mr. Kasich is the fifth Western hostage to be murdered by IS, and if anything, these deaths have hardened the resolve of leaders in Washington and Whitehall. None of this, though, was Abdurrahman Kasich's concern. He came to Syria simply to help its people. Tonight, that country's opposition are mourning him as a fallen hero. Frank Gardner, BBC News.